everybody, welcome back to Ladies Library. Today I'm going to be bringing you my March mid-month wrap-up. It is the 20th of March today, and I have finished 3 physical books and 2 audiobooks. None of the physical books that I have read are on my TBR Tower list. It's only 2 books, but I haven't started them yet. I will start them on Monday. It's Saturday. I will start them on Monday. So for now, I will tell you about the books that I did finish reading. So the first 2 physical books were ones that had actually started in February, which is why I finished those before starting the new ones. So one is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So The 4 Agreements covers some Toltec advice or ways to live. And it is called, and those ways are the 4 Agreements. This was a River Recommends book and my nonfiction book for the month. It actually really affected the way I sort of look at the world and how I take things. The first one is to be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Those are the 4. And it goes into a little bit more detail about them. Towards the end, I did get really annoyed because it's like the first half of the book is those 4 agreements and getting in depth about what that means and how to apply those agreements to your life. But then it sort of starts going on to like a bunch of other auxiliary things that I feel like should have been in their own book. And hey buddy, I honestly don't even really remember that much about them because my focus and my reason for reading this was to learn about the 4 agreements, and I feel like it would have been much more impactful to have that stuff in a separate book. Even though this book is already very small, it's only 140 pages, and that's with all of its advertisements for other books at the back. It really could have been 50, and I think would have made a much larger impact to be 2 different books. So that is the 4 Agreements, and again, I'm not going to rate it because I don't rate nonfiction. What are you even doing? We're just arbitrarily licking my skirt. It's okay. So the next book that I finished reading was The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I'm giving this book 3 stars, and I really wanted to like it more. It's a good story. I'm just not a huge fan of, I guess, the writing style. I don't know. It took me a very long time to get through it. I never really got completely into it and completely invested or engrossed. And there were definitely some things annoyed me, like she constantly referring to characters with first and last names throughout the whole thing. And within just normal conversation. I don't know if that's a Russian thing because this is based on Russian folklore, or if that was an author choice. But between that and the fact that every character had 5 nicknames was very frustrating to follow along with. So this book is about a young girl, Vasilisa, who can see the old spirits, and it's a trait that she inherited from her grandmother. Her mother died in childbirth, and when her father remarried, he married a very devout Catholic woman who felt that the old ways were devil worship, and so brought a priest in to try to wipe out those old ways. And the story sort of follows the effects of that change on the spirits and how Vasilisa sees it and how it affects the land and the forest around them, which I really, really enjoyed that part of it. I really enjoyed getting to see like some of the different, like, I guess almost fairies. I think they should call them like chitiri. But the different spirits, there we go, spirits from Russian folklore. And I would have really loved to delve more into those and heard a little bit less about like why people have 5 names. So 3 stars, Bear and the Nightingale. The other book I finished was Legend of Love by Lisa Kessler. This is the 2nd book in the Muse Chronicles. I gave it a 3-star read. It's not a like, oh my goodness, mind-blowing new favorite, but it is a very nice, quick, refreshing, like, let's just have some fun kind of read. I would sort of describe reading it as reading like a YA reading level, but with very adult content, which is great. It's really helped pull me out of my reading slump that I was in at the end of February, because it was just a quick, easy book to get through. The Muse Chronicles follows the 9 muses as they are sort of reincarnated or embodied in 9 women in modern day, and they are being attacked because they are trying to inspire the future, and there is a sect of people who do not wish that to happen, and so the muses find their guardians to help protect them from the sect so that they can get their theater up and going to help inspire changes for the future. So those are all of the physical books that I've read so far. As for audiobooks, I did finish Indexing Reflections, which is number 2 in the Indexing series by Shauna McGuire. So in the world of indexing, all of the fairy tales that we know and love are real and are driven by a force called the narrative, which tries to recreate those stories over and over in modern day. Now, obviously, that's a problem because Sleeping Beauty's putting the entire country to sleep. Not so good when you got like cars driving around. So there is a branch of the government dedicated to stopping these incursions from happening. And we follow one of their field teams as they investigate and try to stop things from happening. Now then, most of our field team are actually fairy tales themselves. Our main character, whose point of view we are following for the most part, is a Snow White. We also have a elf from The Elf and the Shoemaker, and a wicked stepsister who is trying desperately not to be wicked anymore. It is a really fun, just lighthearted adventure with this group of fairy tale misfits trying to stop the world from exploding, because that's what fairy tales tend to do. The other audiobook that I listened to was Timekeeper. I don't remember the author's name. I should have like a cover around here somewhere to show you guys, and hopefully the author's name will be on that. It is a wonderful little male sort of a little bit of romance. It's not like super like, oh my god, this is a romance, but there is a bit of a male-male relationship going on. And in this world, the god of time has had some issues, and so time is now managed by men, like men as in like the human race, and is controlled by these clock towers, and you have mechanics who go in and fix and keep up the clock towers so that time can continue on. Now, what happens when something goes wrong with one of these clock towers and a mechanic's not able to fix it in time? Well, everything that is in that clock tower's range of effect becomes frozen in time. I really, really loved how the frozen in time was depicted. I also really loved watching the relationship between the two main characters sort of develop, as well as seeing their relationships with others develop. The author did a really good job of having the primary, like, I'm falling in love with your relationship, and all of the friends and co-workers and family that you interact with having relationship growth and development, sort of working in tandem with the main relationship growth and development. And I really, really enjoyed that aspect, as well as just the way they handled the time alterations when there were troubles with the clocks was really, really very interesting. And I felt like as the main character was repairing clocks, that like, yes, this is how you would repair a clock. I felt like I was in the clock tower, touching the gears and getting my hands dirty to keep time running smoothly. So those are the 5 books that I've read so far in March. I am going to try to get my 2 TBR Tower books done. I'm also almost halfway through A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which is super exciting. I love it. I love Sarah J. Maas. I've been looking forward to this book, and I managed to get a copy that has an exclusive extra scene in it. I will see you next week, and happy reading. Bye!